Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I remade Cloud9, or also known as 4stars, by Trippie Redd. The beat was actually produced by PinkGrills88, so make sure that you go down to the description and follow his Instagram. The song was actually teased May 3rd, 2021, and that's when I started remaking this beat. However, there were only 2 snippets available, so I kinda had to put this idea on the shelf and then save it for later. Fast forward 9 months to this week, half of the song actually got leaked, so that meant that I could start on the remake again, and I had to do some tweaks to the presets and the drums. A little side note is that I'm also working on the Trippie Redd Castro or Black Ops remake, which will drop probably next week. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button below, turn on the bell so you'll be the first one to see that video. Starting off, this is all the sounds that I used in this remake, and as you see there's only instances of Serum and of course the drums. All the Serum presets that I've used in this remake has already been uploaded to the updated Serum bank, which you can find on my BeatStars, and the link to that is in the description. And the same goes for all the drums that I've used, except that they are of course in the updated Trippie Redd drum kit. Something that I feel is important to mention is that if you've already purchased either of these kits, you could just send me a DM on Instagram, the link is also in the description, and then you could just ask me to give you the updated Serum bank or the updated drum kit. As you can see in the top left here, the project is at 162 BPM. Starting off, I opened up Serum and I started to perfect and tweak the Supersaw preset, and this is the pattern. Something that I barely missed when listening to the original song was that you can hear that one note in this chord is actually playing longer than the others, which is this B note right here. So then I routed the Supersaw to mixer track number 10. I put on this EQ right here and a little boost at 190. I then also added an instance of wider to add some more stereo separation, and I tweaked the settings to be at 25%. Next up is the lead that's also used in Molly Heart, and this is the pattern that plays. Now as you can see and hear, there's a lot of variety in this pattern. For example, over here we have a bit of a stutter, and there's also different note lengths to emphasize the glide between the notes. Something you also can see is that every bar there's a difference between which notes are playing and which notes aren't. So sometimes there's spaces between and sometimes there's not. Then I added this track to mixer track number 11, and I added this simple EQ right here. And next up is the main lead that you hear throughout the song. Now this preset I added to mixer track number 12, and I added this EQ right here. And you can just take notes of the frequencies that I cut out and boosted right here. I then added another EQ which cuts the frequencies above 5000 Hz. And when listening to the original song, you can actually hear that there are 2 instances of the same main lead playing at around the 53 seconds mark. And this is what it sounds like. Now this preset I routed to mixer track number 14, and I just copied over the exact EQ settings as you can see right here. And a quick way to do that is right click on your desired channel, go to file, click and hold save mixer track state as, and then you just want to drag it to the track that you want. Then we move on to the next lead, which is kind of this background vocal lead with a lot of reverb, and this is the pattern that it plays. And here, as you can see, there's a bit of variety. So when I was listening to the song, I could swear that I heard sometimes there was one note playing and sometimes there was a double note playing like this in the pattern. So if you just listen to the original song, you're probably gonna know what I mean. Now this preset, which is also in the Serum bank, I added to mixer track number 13. Then I added an instance of FabFilter Pro EQ, and then I just took out the highs. I then also added Valhalla Vintage Verb, and then I just turned the mix down to 80%, the pre-delay to 0, and the decay to 0.25. You can actually replicate this in Fruity Reverb 2. For example, you can turn up the wet, down with the decay a little bit, and make sure that the pre-delay is at 0. When it came to leveling the different Serum presets, I have the Super Sauce sitting at around 15 dB. The Molly Heart lead was sitting at around 24 to 21. The main lead was sitting at around 18 to 15. And the last lead is at around 15 dB. Then we move over to the drums right here. This is the 808 pattern that's playing throughout the song. As you can see, I used the Molly Heart 808, which is from my Trippie Redd drum kit. And here's just a little preview of all the drums that are in there. When it comes to the effects on the 808, I just added an EQ and cut out some of the highs, and I also added a soft clipper. Next we move on to the clap. I used the same clap that's used in Holy Smokes, which was featuring Lil Uzi, and this is the pattern. And I didn't add any effects to the clap, I just leveled it. Then we move on to the snare. It's actually the same snare that was used in the Vibes remake that I've also done, which you can check out, the link is in the description. And this is the pattern that it plays. Next sound is the hi-hat, which sounds like this. Something that is worth mentioning is that in the original song you can hear that the hi-hat notes are panned randomly from left to right. So I replicated this by going on my keyboard, pressing Alt-R, and then you get this randomizer here. You then want to make sure that pattern is deselected and only levels is selected, and then you want to tweak the pan a little bit. And if you want it to be randomized from the left to the right, you want to make sure that bipolar is also checked. And again, there's no effects on the hi-hat. Then there's this open hat which plays at the beginning. And of course this is also from the drum kit. Next up is this perk sound right here, and I couldn't hear this sound in the 2 snippets that was released 9 months ago. But when I listened to the song now, I heard that the perk was playing this pattern. And as you can see, I've pitched up the notes to F sharp. Then when it came to leveling, the 808 is hitting at around 0 dB. The clap is hitting at around 3 to 6. And the snare is sitting just below 6 dB. We then move on to the hi-hat, which is sitting at around 12 dB. And the open hat is playing at around 15. Then we have the perk, which is playing at around 9. And my master is only containing a soft clipper. Since only half of the song got leaked, the structure isn't probably 100% accurate. However, I would argue that it's very, very close. Because if you listen to the original song at around 121, you can hear that Trippie sings "Live My Life Like GTA," which then he also said at the beginning over here when the chorus begins. So therefore I just took this entire pattern right here and I copied it over. And then I made a few changes, of course. And at the end I just extended the clips a little bit so that the beat rings out very nice. So the only thing left was that I owned my own producer tag. The beat was actually produced by pinkgrills88, so make sure that you go down to the description and follow his Instagram. But without further ado, here's the entire beat.